You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes, episode 122. Yes, it's a little different area around here, but hey, you know what? It's all good because we're down in the basement. It's cold. It's nice. It's not super hot up in my room. And hopefully we got better connection. But without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C., a.k.a. Matt Callie, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C., etc., etc., etc. And all the way from Woods and Shore Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Paul Volta, Shield. What's going on there, Shield?
I am just so happy that I could go outside today and wear a pair of sweatpants and not be sweating like crazy.
Yeah.
It is finally feeling like fall. I even wore long pants and long sleeves today at work, and I was just fine. It is great to have that weather once again, and hopefully it sticks around for a while, too.
I hope so. And, you know, that MinneZona sweatshirt's looking pretty fresh.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty fresh.
Pretty comfy.
Yeah, it looks pretty comfy, man. So I like it a lot. But without further ado, Voldy, you know, we were off last week, but we're back this week. Obviously, we're talking about the Vikings beating the Packers, which was great. We loved it. Yeah, you know, claps all around. We gave our reactions and things like that. We gave some other tidbits of information too about them beating the Eagles. That didn't go as planned, unfortunately. But that means we can talk about it and go over what happened and, just kind of see what's going on with that. So, Tater Tot, that's going to be our Tater Tot Hot Take tonight. The Twins are a train wreck, so we decided, we'll wait till the end of the season.
We'll see what happens next week when they get eliminated.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
looking pretty likely as of late.
You're exactly right, Voldy. And you know what? It's Paul ads better be ready. That's all I got to say. But, yeah, Tater Tot Hot Take, no special segment this week, but we've got a lot of cool ARAs coming at you. And Shield Shoutouts, return to Shield Shoutouts. It's been a week. Voldy's got a lot of them, so we're going to get to them. All right, let's get to some Tater Tot Hot Take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, it's time for Tater Tot Hot Take, and our first hot take tonight is obviously our Minnesota Vikings. It wasn't good. Let's just put it like that. Let's just start it like that. It wasn't good. Offensively, we were stagnant. We had maybe one or two good drives that ended with, we had a touchdown with Irv. A couple drops. JJ couldn't get going, which we knew they were going to key in on him. They put big play Slay, and he pretty much dominated, to put frankly. And defensively, a lot of missed assignments. A lot of playing off the receivers, which you would think you'd place a little bit of press against a guy like A.J. Brown, a guy like Devontae Smith. I mean, guys running rug shot over the defense. A complete 360 where the Vikings just looked like they did in the Zim era, right? And it was kind of baffling, but at the same time, it's Monday Night Football. We all know the Vikings don't do great on Monday Night Football, and okay, let's bring up the Kirk thing. Okay, Kirk did not play well. Let's be honest. And I agree with a lot of people that have said that, you can't get it done at prime time. And you know what? He was proving those doubters right. And I'll be honest, they can go at him. That's fine. Because he did not play well either. I'll get to kind of my takes in a second here, but Voldy, I kind of want your overall thoughts and the Zoners' thoughts on what transpired. And Austin Hanley, I swear, if you put something, I'm going to get you. No, I'm just kidding. But I want your thoughts on the whole situation, thoughts on the game, just kind of give your overall thoughts, and we'll see what the Zoners get. So what do you got, Voldy?
Yeah, the one scoring drive that we had in the game, getting Irv Smith Jr., that was the only bright point of it all, was that one touchdown. And even that was gifted by a couple of penalties and, of course, a couple of questionable calls later in the game that the Vikings weren't even able to capitalize on, too. I don't understand how the Vikings offense went from this new look, guys in motion, jet sweeps, getting Justin Jefferson completely wide open in the middle of the field, back to basically 4 or 5 yard checkdowns of the running back and trying to find a tight end over the middle. I don't know how we went from new look offense to the same offense we've been seeing the last 5 years from the Vikings in the span of less than a week. I should say in over a week time with Kevin O'Connell and the crew. This was just a rough performance overall. Defense did get hampered by a couple of shoddy penalties. I'll certainly throw that. Vikings just cannot play well in Philly, no matter what day or what time of year. They always end up questionable play, and unfortunately never works out to their favor, even if the refs were on their side to begin with. You get down early, Jalen Hurts was just balling out in every sense of the word, too. He was coming off a great game, and then now he adds this, so he's got even more confidence to his repertoire to work with. But I think, and we all know at one point it was all going to go downhill as soon as Irv Smith dropped that easy catch.
Yes.
I shouldn't say an easy catch. Dropped that ball that would have been a touchdown. It definitely would have swung the favor and the momentum to his Viking side. it was all over from that point. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I can't remember, was that like mid-second quarter or
Yeah.
like near halftime or something
Yeah.
like that, but you drop that one and it was not going to be an easy one, and unfortunately I fell asleep on the couch once halftime hit. Second half came out and I look out, oh, it's 24-7. Okay, well, didn't really miss much at that point. So it was just I don't want to say it was a bad game. That's the only term that comes to mind. It was not good.
Well, yep, and you mentioned Hurts, and to be honest, I mean he played pretty much lights out. The Vikings got to him a couple times. I mean, I'll give him that. Zadarius they were getting pressure, and there were some offensive holding calls and things like that. But he played lights out. He saw the big mistake that Cam Bynum made on that long touchdown to Watkins there. And pretty much, with his feet, he dominated. He's a strong dude. I mean, Jalen Hurts is a big, strong guy, and he ran over Vikings left and right, forced himself into the end zone. It was just poor tackling. Also, Cam Bynum, we were kind of all in on him, so that's great, but maybe it's time to put in Scene. Maybe it's that time too, but we'll see. Austin Hanley, our most absurd statement winner of 2021. Hello. Goff sure has been looking good. Yeah, it's still early. Hurts was money. That's what he says, and it's true. I mean, he was. So I guess to get on the Kirk bit for a second. Now, this is the point in time where you can, yes, point the finger, but was it all on Kirk? You could say most of it was on Kirk, because why are you throwing the ball up to JJ, a fade route, and trying to, you did it once, Slay almost intercepted it. You do it twice, and he intercepts it. I mean, what are we trying to do here? What was with the scheme there? Like, I didn't understand why Kirk decided to do that. The first interception, and a lot of people are saying that it was on Jefferson, and Jefferson actually said, hey, that's on me, my bad, whatever. But still, it's still the 3 interceptions, and people are making the Kirk jokes, the memes, and things like that, which, that's how you get clicks, and, that's fine. That's fine. You can get the clicks and whatnot. But you have to be better with the scheme. You kind of you doubled JJ, or tripled, or however they did. They did a great job. I mean, it's that simple on JJ. Thielen, we didn't see him till the second half. Irv had the touchdown, had the drop. I mean, it was just downhill. It was just downhill. And obviously the Eagles fans, I think, with the train going by, they really,
Eagles offense was moving through like that train, man.
Yeah,
they just couldn't be stopped.
You're true. That's very true, Voldy. So I look at it like this. I said this to Papa Callahan too. I said, listen, if the Viking, this is why we brought Kwesi and O'Connell in. This whole administration, every person that's new in the organization now. How do you respond? I said, it's like, how are they going to respond? Are you going to, wallow in your sorrows? Oh, we got the Lions next week. The Lions aren't bad.
No.
Let's just put that to bed here. The Lions aren't bad. I think they're going to be pretty good. And they're going to give us a challenge.
Vikings gave them the Lions their first win last year.
It's true. So you factor that in. So how is this team going to respond to just this terrible game? I mean, honestly, it felt like 38-7 from the NFC Championship game. I mean, if I'm being completely honest. You can't just go on just be like, well, we gotta do X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you gotta make the adjustments. And Donatel, I mean, a lot of people are kind of bashing him. Like, why aren't we pressing? Why aren't we blitzing more? Why aren't we doing this and that? I just think that they didn't expect the Eagles to come at them like that. Because I think the Vikings were riding off the high of that Packer win. That's how I look at it. I think a lot of those guys were riding off the high of that Packer win. And you can't sit back and think, oh, we're just going to roll over these Eagles. We're better than these guys. Says who? So, the Eagles are a good team. Easy A says Slay is a good corner, though. Yeah, I'm not saying he's bad by any means. He played lights out. He was there at the right time. He jumped the JJ route. He had the easy interception from Kirk there. He had a couple, actually. He had pass breakups. He almost had... I mean, he could have had 4 or 5 picks. I mean, it could have been that bad. But here comes Austin. Same old same. Yeah. You stick with your Chiefs and leave us alone. Irv got me the W, LOL, but no one cares about your fantasy team, Easy, so that's too bad. I hear Lamar is for sale. I wouldn't bet on that one.
Too much money.
Yep, that too. No pressure on Hurts is not good, as a lot of people would like to say, and it wasn't. I mean, he sliced and diced, and it's that simple. He sliced and diced. So
can't play the RPO. Vikings couldn't find any way to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, what is it with our team and RPOs? I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, especially when that NFC Championship team. I mean, good Lord. Maybe
team
Baker
is built
or
for the
Cam.
1970s, man.
Jeez,
Just
yeah.
straight up offensive football.
No kidding. Maybe Baker or Cam. Yeah, no. Not even. We're not even gonna fathom that. Trading Kirk right now is not the way you fix this. You have to. You bought into him, now you're stuck with him. So that's too bad, Austin. But Voldy, let's just move on to next week. All right, I mean, I think they are going to bounce back. I don't know to what extent. I think this is going to be a very close game against Detroit. And we got to look at Detroit. They've scored over 30 points in these 2 games. And, by the way, it was against the Eagles week 1. And last week they played Washington, and I mean, well, it's still Washington, but still.
I mean, they almost beat Philly too. Is the thing?
Yeah,
they were down early, and Detroit came rolling back, and it was like 38-35 or something like that in week 1. I mean, it's not like they lost by a couple of touchdowns or whatever.
Yeah, it's true. It's going to be a tough. I mean, they're good, man. I mean, if you watched Hard Knocks this past season, I mean, they got DeAndre Swift is good player. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's a hard. I mean, they're good. Maybe or wait. I'm not stuck with him. That's true. You got Mahomes. So, is Smith-Schuster doing anything in KC, or is he twirling his thumbs? I don't know. I don't really have him in fantasy, so I guess I don't know easy. All right, Voldy, end zoners, what are your thoughts here coming up on Sunday? It's a noon game, which is great because I'm looking forward to a noon game, to be honest. But are they going to bounce back? And then just kind of give me you can give me a prediction / score if you want. But if you need to think about it and bring it back to me, we can. But
I mean, I could rattle off something and be completely, wrong to begin with. If we've seen anything from my picks the first couple of weeks, I've been wrong quite often.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's been brutal. Last week with all these comebacks just murdered me with my picks. I'm like second to last or something like that, but it is not good. But looking at this matchup with Detroit, this isn't Detroit from 3 or 4 years ago where they're just scraping by. I mean, this team can play, and we saw that last year with Jared Goff. I mean, they got their first win last year from the Vikings too, and I know if this was even possible, back-to-back trap games for the Vikings too, because this past week was another one of those trap games. It was a statement game, and the Vikings fell flat on their face to begin with. But another trap game here. You can't take the Lions lightly. given the fact that it is Detroit coming to town as well. They've got offense. They've got Hawkinson. They've got Jared Goff. They've got a running game. St. Brown as well, DeAndre Swift, and, they've got a good offensive group. They've had a couple of younger guys come up defensively that are starting to make plays. I think they've got a rookie or an undrafted rookie guy that's a pretty good linebacker for them as of late. And it was another thing coming into this week as well for the Vikings. If they could protect Kirk Cousins and give him time, that's going to allow the offense to open up. And it's on the other side as well. If the Vikings defense can get to Jared Goff, they've got a good shot. So it's all coming back down the line. It's the line of scrimmage and everybody getting on their guy and allowing somebody to try and make a play. Score-wise, I said at the beginning of the year, Vikings are going to have to win a lot of 34-30 games. I could very well see this being 34-30. I'm going to say 30-27 Vikings.
Okay. 30, 20.
Points are going to be had in this game.
Okay. I like that because, like we've been saying, the Lions have been scoring like crazy. They've done it great offensively. Goff and whatever scheme they have is really working, and especially with Swift kind of being in the backfield and taking on a lot of those carries. Now, speaking of carries, can we get Dalvin Cook involved? Granted, I understand the Vikings are trying to figure out what to do with this new offense and how to involve him more, but If Kirk Cousins, I think it was at one point, or maybe it was, or still is, Kirk Cousins was your your leading rusher in that Eagles game, I think, or whatever it was. That can't happen. Dalvin Cook needs to get his touches. And I'm not saying he needs 35, 40 carries a game. I'm not saying that. I'm saying at least you got to get him up to that 25, 30 range. And you can get it to JJ. You can get it to Thielen. KJ, I want to see a little bit more out of KJ. I think that we can do that once we open up the run game a little bit. If we can control the game with running with Dalvin and explosive plays, I think, like you said, it's going to be a high-scoring game. But we also have to remember that defensively, our secondary is, they didn't have a great game. There wasn't a lot of great communication between,
right.
I feel like with Bynum and some of the corners and whatnot. Dantzler, I thought, played okay. I think he had some nice plays. Pat Pete, I really didn't see much. They didn't really throw his way as much, but I look at it from this. If they can get Dalvin the ball, they'll be okay.
Right.
I really think if Dalvin gets up to that 100 yard, I think they're winning the game. If he gets up to 100 yards or so, and with JJ, Thielen, so I'll go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say, let's go 38. Let's go 38-35. I'm gonna go 38-35. I think the Vikings are gonna come down to the leg of Greg Joseph. The leg of Greg Joseph. I think he'll knock it through the uprights, and the Vikings will get the win against Detroit. But I'm going to say this. I won't be surprised if Detroit beats us.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I won't be surprised. I won't have a shock.
This is another trap game, and then next week, hey, we go to London against the Saints. Great.
Why?
Gotta have this.
Why game. Us? Why do we have to go to London?
We gotta have this game. Got to have this game. Then we go international against our rival in New Orleans. And, oh, yeah, guess what? The Queen is dead. Come on. This is just, this couldn't be any more horrible timing for the Vikings to head across the pond, too. Let's hope that it's a different story once we are talking about the game coming up here next week as well, after a victory here on Sunday.
Oh, gosh. Now I got to get to some of these comments here, Voldy. This is interesting. Easy A says, we'll bounce back. Everyone is mad about the loss. Starts in the trenches. Well, let's go, baby. Let's go. We passed to Aguilar like he is... No, you're thinking of Rager. that's what you're thinking of, Easy. We had Jalen Rager, and they booed the hell out of him. I mean, they really let him have it when he was doing the punt return or going on a pass. Don't want Cook hurt. Don't want Cook hurt early. Well, yeah, he's been
Can't get hurt
healthy.
if you don't give him the ball.
It's true. And please get Dirty Harry back. We need him. Well, he's being evaluated for a concussion, and he did not practice today.
Did not.
That's not a great sign. What happened to the Vikings are winning the Super Bowl? I never said that. I never said that. I said they're going to win the division. I don't think that they're. I never said they're going to the Super Bowl. I wish they. I hope they do, but I never said that. You're the one that said that Kirk was the fourth best quarterback in the division. Justin Fields has only completed 15 passes this whole season. So, talk to me when he gets up to Kirk's numbers. So we'll go from there. Anyway, Hanley.
Anyway.
But yeah, I look at this. I think this is going to be a big Cook game. Defensively, I think we got to get some turnovers, and we didn't. Yeah. We had that interception, which was nice to Hicks. I think it was tipped off that screen and whatnot. Oh, speaking of which, why did we keep doing bubble screens? I mean, it didn't work. I swear we were going to get it picked at one point. I swear to God. And
it's the same offense we were seeing the last 5 years. That bubble screen garbage.
Drives me nuts. So hopefully O'Connell can get a good game plan here against Detroit coming up. Same record. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'd still take Kirk over Buston. That's all I'm saying. Right now, that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to get too much into it with you today. But, yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a dogfight.
It is.
It's going to be a dogfight.
Huge dogfight.
We're going to be. It's going to be a fun game. I really think it's going to be a fun game. Edge of your seat, get your popcorn ready, all that.
Yes, sir.
And more. So we shall see. All right. No special segment this week, but we have A or A this week. We got some NFL, obviously, and some baseball. College football. Nebraska in the news. NHL, that's starting to come up a little bit. So, hey, let's go.
20 days till season opener, baby.
Wow, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Seems
You're
like
telling
yesterday.
me.
Yeah. Seems like yesterday they ended the season. Shoot.
Yeah, they did.
So, yeah, they did.
It was literally yesterday.
Literally yesterday. Oh, gosh. All right. Well, let's get it going with some Absurd or Approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it is time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, starting off with the National Football League, well, Week 1 came and went, and so did Week 2 at the same time. Yet the Dallas Cowboys are somehow 1-1 on the season. Of course, Week 1 was a 19-3 loss for the Dallas Cowboys, and in the process of that loss against Tampa Bay, they also lost their starting quarterback in Dak Prescott to a right thumb injury, which already has taken place, and he is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks, could be less, the way things are trending as of late. Dak Prescott just cannot catch a break with the Dallas Cowboys, and originally, if we were going to have this show last week, it was going to be the question along the lines of, are the Cowboys already out of contention without Dak Prescott in the fold? Insert Cooper Rush, now officially 2-0 as a starter in the NFL, coming off a win against the likes of Cincinnati last week. It did take a game-winning field goal for that to happen, but nonetheless, Cooper Rush is now 2-0 as a starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys and in his NFL career. But still not quite Dak Prescott in his entirety, but serviceable for the time being. So question is it absurd or approved? Will the Cowboys still be able to contend even with, will they still be irrelevant by the time Dak is able to get back out onto the field?
That's a great question. How about Cooper Rush? That's all I got to say. I mean, good Lord, he goes, he beats the Bengals. Beat the Vikings last year. I mean, he's been serviceable, like you said.
Right.
So I got to give him some credit. I got to give him some credit on that front. But in regards to Dak, I mean, I still think they have a long ways to go. I look at it from this perspective. If Dak gets back as early as they keep talking about, I mean, Jerry keeps talking it up like he's gonna be back in time, he's gonna be fine, and blah blah blah. But you don't want to rush it with a hand, man. I mean, you really don't, because if Cooper Rush is giving you that serviceable need, which is great. I mean, he kind of showed he can handle his own. I mean, especially against the runner-up in the Super Bowl. They beat the Bengals, for goodness sake. I mean, that says a lot. That's a statement win that they desperately needed, and they got it done. I think it's got my stamp of approval. They talk about, well, their defense is still good and this and that. But I think if they ran into Philadelphia, I think they'd lose.
Right.
I think if they
They're
ran,
gonna have to.
Yeah, I think if they ran into Tampa, they'd lose. L.A., the Vikings, that's up in the air right now. But I mean, I think they are, just because I don't trust that offensive line, especially. It's not the same offensive line. And to be honest, Zeke, I think Zeke is just. I mean, I haven't seen Zeke have a really, really good game in a long time. So I think he's kind of. CD Lamb's been doing okay with being kind of the guy now, but I think they're going to be irrelevant by the time he gets back, because, I mean, Cooper Rush, can he keep it up? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, maybe he's just so good that they decide, you know what, Dak, you take your time, but, Cooper Rush is kind of our guy right now. But I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. I think they will be. Their schedule isn't as favorable as you'd think. But, again, they could stink up the joint at any time. So,
Yep.
R.I.P. King Henry. What's that mean? Did Derrick Henry just get hurt? Or what's going on there? I don't know. Anyway, we'll look into that. Voldy, what do you think?
Well, it doesn't help for the Cowboys' sake. 3 of the next 4 games they play against our divisional opponents. So they go 0-3 in those next 3 games. 3 of the next 4 games, the other game being against L.A., they're pretty much done for, because, again, you can never count them out, though, because the NFC East, no real clear-cut winners ever for certain in that division. Giants, they're 2-0 to start off the year. Commanders are somehow 1-1. Eagles are 2-0 as well, but they go 0-3. Heck, if they even win one of those games, they might be okay. But then you run into the Rams. You play the Lions again. I believe that game might be on Thanksgiving. Don't quote me directly on that one, but they'll play against the Lions. They'll play the Cowboys, and then they got the Packers. That's the next 6 weeks. So we're basically 1 week out from surgery. So even if they go the 6 to 8 weeks for Dak Prescott, and if they go 4-4, I think they'll be all right. So they're 1-1 right now on the season. Yeah. They go 4-4, they're 5-5. And they got to win at least 1, if not 2, of those divisional games, at least keep their head above water in that division, maybe even that wild card spot. With Cooper Rush, I don't know. I can't see him being a long-term situation and a short-time need right now for the Cowboys. Am I going to say, are they going to be relevant with Cooper Rush in 6 to 8 weeks? I'm going to say no. I don't think they're going to be relevant. I think they're going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel. And if Zeke gets relied on a lot more, I would like to see Zeke Elliott actually do something, because like he had talked about, I don't remember him having a good game or 100-yard rushing performance in. It feels like years. It probably happened at least once or twice last season, but it just nothing with him ever jumps off the page when it comes to big rushing performances. Sure, he'll get his 5, his 10 yards here, and then Tony Pollard comes off the bench and then rips off a 15 to 20 yarder, and then Zeke Elliott reaps the benefits and gets a 5-yard touchdown run. But like, I want to see him be that hoss at running back that he was supposed to be right out of school. Obviously, it's been a number of years. I don't know if we're going to see that anymore. Are they going to be relevant? I hope not. But at the same time, I'm not even worried about the Cowboys. I'm just more worried about the Cowboys fans, because even when they're good, they're annoying. When they're bad, they're really annoying. It's one of those good or bad things. Like, if the Cowboys are good, then everybody hates it. If the Cowboys are bad, everybody still hates it. It's a love-hate relationship. The hate being the Cowboys still exist. The love being the Cowboys still stink at the same time. It's one of those give and take relationships. There's more bad than good right now when we talk about the Cowboys.
No kidding. And Jerry talks them up like they're going to win the freaking
Of course
Super
he
Bowl.
does. That's what he's supposed to do.
I understand that. But, like, it's frustrating when you hear him say one thing and then there's reports that they want Sean Payton so bad that it's not. I'm not shedding any tears for sour milk Mike McCarthy, but, like, that's kind of unfair at this point. But yeah, I think they're going to be irrelevant by the time he gets back. But I still think it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could survive without him. So I do agree on that. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, this is another story from a couple of weeks ago that may or may not still hold some water or not. Well, Tony LaRussa is back with the Chicago White Sox following a procedure to get him recovering from his pacemaker procedure as well. In short, Tony LaRussa's old. Why is he still managing? I have no idea to begin with. But, he was back with the White Sox in Oakland a couple of weeks ago to celebrate to one of his former players from, the 80s, and Dave Stewart getting his number retired with the Oakland Athletics. And that also brought up the fact of whether or not he still wants to run the team going into next season. He'll turn 78 in October, so he'll be 78 coming into next season for the White Sox, and discussing health and also the concerns with the team as well. It makes it very interesting to see. Would it be absurd or approved that Tony LaRussa will be back with the Chicago White Sox next season?
He turns 78 on October 4th, and which is kind of a, it's you can't mess with health. And we saw this, remember, kind of comparing two different sports here, but Jerry Kill, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, we get that you want to coach, but your health is just, we don't want you to, end up.
We don't want you to die.
Yeah, it is pretty much
that
what
just
we're
looks
saying
bad
here.
on all of us.
But I think he loves it, and to be honest, do they have a good team? They're okay. They're fine, but like
they had a few decent pieces.
Right. Why wouldn't you just go right off into the sunset and like do some work with the MLB or like be a consultant or something?
That's what he was doing. He was literally doing that before he got joined the White Sox.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't understand. He had a nice cushy job in the commissioner's office.
Yeah. So what you didn't like it or what? I don't get it.
I have no idea.
So anyway, yeah, I think he should just be concerned with his health. If the White Sox are really in on him and they think that he's going to, turn this around and whatnot, I think it's absurd. I think he should, ride off into the sunset. That's how I look at it. Are they going to win a World Series? Probably not. Okay, but I get it, love for the game and whatnot, but I think it's absurd, but he probably will. Who else are you going to get? You're going to bring up somebody? You're going to go out and get somebody? You not saying that you have the best options in the world, but maybe you have somebody that's up and coming. I don't know. So, yeah, I think it's absurd. Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's completely absurd. You have no benefit of bringing Tony LaRussa back. Like, I will say, having the White Sox job coming in next season is going to be very enticing for a few potential candidates. They do have some starting pitching that is promising as well. They've got a few young hitters. You know, Jose Abreu's on the backside of his career, at least I think. But they got some guys coming up. They've got Luis Robert. They've got Eloy Jimenez as well. A couple of young guys that can still mash the ball at the same time. But they've got a bit of a team that they can work with. Put a few extra pieces in front of them. Maybe another starter. Maybe a couple of guys to fill out the lineup. White Sox could compete. And that sucks for the Twins fans because they'll probably get raked over the coals next season against Chicago. Who knows? That's still next season all to begin with. But I think you bring in, I hate to say it, but Tony La Russa is too friggin' old to be managing Major League Baseball players. Like Tim Anderson even called him out and basically said he's too friggin' old. And Tim Anderson's a great player, as much as I hate to say it because he plays for the White Sox. And, with him being one of the faces of the franchise coming out and saying that should probably be a sign to Jerry Reinsdorf and the crew there for the ownership, that being for the White Sox. Definitely need to look at something. I feel like Tony La Russa should definitely be more of a GM, maybe somewhere, if not back at Major League Baseball. He's good for baseball. He's not good for a baseball team specifically. I just think, need to part ways here. I think he'll be gone after the season. I think it's completely absurd.
You know, I was watching the Falcons-Aints game, and Bruce Arians took on senior advisor role or whatever.
Yep.
He was barking at the refs at the game. It's like, Bruce, do you still want to coach or not? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's just, oh my gosh. Then you compare it to like La Russa, that's probably what he would do, with baseball. But I think that's a pretty good comparison in my opinion. So I don't know, but Bruce Arians definitely, he's a good coach. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
Well, finally, it has come to an end. The Scott Frost era at Nebraska, thank God, came to an end a couple weeks ago as Nebraska fired their head football coach not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before. One day after losing to Georgia Southern 45-42, and at that point they were 1-2 on the season, thus replacing with an associate head coach Mickey Joseph, who was winless in his debut this past week going up against Oklahoma, but finally brings the end to the tenure of Scott Frost at Nebraska, and he'll probably be looking for a job somewhere else, just because of the fact that I think Scott Frost is still, it didn't work at Nebraska. Worked at Central Florida for those great years that they had. Should have been national champions, but hey, Alabama dodged them. Won't talk about that. How you doing? Keep it moving. But it does bring up, unfortunately, since 2018, not a good record for Scotty Frost and the Cornhuskers as well. Talk about the Dallas Cowboys of college football. When Nebraska's down, everybody hears about it because everybody knows at least 5 Cornhusker fans, and they're not even from Nebraska, yet they like the Cornhuskers. Still drives me insane how people are Cornhusker fans if you aren't even from Nebraska as well. That's a different story I don't want to get into now. But 1-2, now 1-3 on the season for the Cornhuskers, but another big enticing Power 5 conference position that will be opening up here. So who is it going to be taking over the helm next season for those Nebraska Cornhuskers? Will they hire within? Will they keep Mickey Joseph? Or are they going to look for a big name and a big splash elsewhere?
I think they got to look for a big name, big splash. There are a lot of, like you said about Cornhusker fans, there's a lot of Cornhusker fans. And, I feel like they need everyone was so big on Bo Pelini and all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. But they need to land somebody big. And I think to kind of turn this around, this narrative of this program, because, their program's pretty, very prestigious, you would say, in the back in the day and whatnot. But it's gotten to the point where, some of these Cornhusker fans are going to be putting a lot of pressure on the university to get somebody. I think they're going to go after a big name, but if they can't, they could just, hire within, like you said, with Mickey Joseph, and he gets his $15 million buyout apparently. Frost does. Oh my gosh. But yeah, Mickey Joseph, maybe he can do something. I don't know. If they win some big time games, they might keep him. But I don't know. I think they're gonna go after a guy that's gonna be a big name. People are saying, "Oh God, Urban Meyer." No, that's all I gotta say.
Hey man,
yeah,
do it to it. You know what? You want a big splash? You want to ruffle a few feathers? I say bring Urban Meyer in. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, yeah. So I guess before I throw it over to you, I guess it's really, yeah. I mean, I'd say the guy had my stamp of approval if they went after somebody big. Hopefully not Urban Meyer, but that's, if you want to make a splash, go ahead. But yeah, I think they're gonna try to hire somebody really good. So we'll see. Foldy, what do you think?
Yeah, they got to go after a big name. They got to change the culture again. That's what they did when they brought in Scott Frost as well, try to get past Bo Pelini and, the rough end of the years that was transferring and changing from the Big 12 into the Big 10. And then Scott Frost comes in, he's the shiny new toy. He's Nebraska's golden boy that led them to a national championship back in the day. It didn't work. Just because you had a guy who played for the program doesn't mean it's going to work. You can't keep living off the glory days. Why do we keep comparing Nebraska to the Dallas Cowboys? Because there are too many similarities. They talk about the good old days, and this guy did this at this point. Hey, he's come back. We're going to have that. No, you're not. Just because Nebraska fans are throwing out Tom Osborne should be head coach. First off, I didn't even know Tom Osborne is still alive. If he is, he's got to be 107 years old right now. They can't even stand up, let alone coach a football team. I don't know. That's purely a guess on my end as well. I just think it'd be completely ridiculous to throw that. Look, Urban Meyer, add another Power 5 conference in the Big 10 with Nebraska. Be very interesting. Everything that's happened with him in the last year plus, well, that was at the professional level. Now he's back to the co-eds. Hey, we know what Urban Meyer likes doing with co-eds. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that out there. I didn't say it, but he did it. He acted upon it. I'm just saying for that regard, too. But I definitely think they can go out there and get a name. I don't know if it's going to be a big name, but it's probably going to be somebody that's helped build a program elsewhere and build it up to where they've seen a lot more production. Could be somebody at a smaller conference school or maybe a lower level D1 team that has really built things up over the last few years. I wouldn't be surprised if they went that route either. So I think it's going to be very interesting. I don't know if Mickey Joseph is going to be the guy going to next year, but I certainly can't rule anything out when it comes to Nebraska.
All right, well, we'll see. But Easy Ace says, hating on Nebraska, LOL. Wish Madsen was listening here. Well, he's got a lot of teams, that's for sure. He's got Kentucky, he's got Nebraska. Who do you pick?
Not even from Nebraska. Why are you a Nebraska fan? It's like white people university. Just like, I don't get it. I don't like Nebraska. I'm white. Again, a whole different thing. I don't want to get it.
Well, yeah, that's,
we might get canceled.
That's for Voldy's virtues, I think. I think that's or something. We'll see. I don't know. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, with the prospect of the NHL season coming up here, and of course that's going to be leading the way, the return of the NHL, I shouldn't say the NHL, but the World Cup for hockey. That's going to be coming back in 2024. Last time that was held, I think it was 2018, 2019. No, 2016, excuse me. That was the last. Jesus, that's a long time ago. But the NHL is considering a play-in tournament for the World Cup of Hockey when it comes back in 2024 that will have a direct, that will be held directly before the February event as well. So a little play-in before the actual playoffs itself. Now, the NHL and the Players Association are working out the details for the first World Cup of Hockey since 2016, targeting a 17-day window in February of 2024 that would interrupt the regular season at that time. So basically, it would be an Olympic break that they usually have built in their schedule, but since they're no longer participating in the Olympics as well, the NHL is still trying to get that all straightened out as well. But some of the returning national teams that would be making an impact would include Canada, Team USA, Sweden, Finland, the Czech Republic, and a team representing of Russian players, not directly with Russia. Other national teams that could include, such as Switzerland, Slovakia, Germany, Austria, Norway, among many others as well. There have been some teams in the past, like in the World Juniors competition, of some ridiculous teams as well. I think Kazakhstan had a team probably about, probably at least 10 years ago now at this point. But certainly very interesting to see what teams would get represented. But is it absurd or approved, DJ Matty C, who the potential play-in scenario for the World Cup of Hockey coming up in 2024?
Ooh, that's a great question. We've been kind of clamoring for this for a while. I feel like considering a play-in is kind of like, it's similar to soccer, right? You have the USA. Well, they fail to qualify a lot, but soccer-wise, I should say. But I think it'd be interesting. I think it adds a different type of element to, or I should say, intrigue to it. So there's a lot of intrigue in this situation, or with this play-in, and I think with the World Cup, it's kind of like I said with soccer and whatnot. But I also think with all these countries, I mean, anything can happen. I mean, you could have one of the best teams, and then a team that's just kind of, had some tough losses and everything, and then all of a sudden they beat them in for a mini play-in tournament. Dang, that's crazy. So it's kind of like, it's somewhat of a March Madness type of deal. Mm-hmm. But I like the way that they're going about it. I don't see any big issue with it. But there might be an issue with Russia and what's going on with that too. So I just kind of looking into it, it's interesting to see, all the other countries are fine, but Russia, we'll see how that works out. But it seems like the NHL and NHLPA are working out a deal and whatnot. I'd like to see it just because I think it'd be fun to watch and see some USA guys, play. Some other other countries, some other NHL guys play for, Canada if they, with Russia, they'd have a lot of guys there. They'd have, Finland, Sweden, all that stuff. So, I'd say it's got my stamp of approval. I think it's there's enough intrigue there, and I think a lot of people might like it. So that's just my opinion. Foldy, what do you think?
I think this would have a good effect on the World Cup of Hockey because it would have, and my stance about playing games and actually adding extra games, postseason and everything. But this would have a good benefit. I think it would drive more of the bigger names in hockey to participate because there could be a potential situation where Team USA and Team Canada don't play in the World Cup. That's probably not going to happen, but you can't rule anything out. Like Canada and Team USA ended up in the two play-in games because they're talking about 10 national teams that would take part in the World Cup, with 2 teams being eliminated in the qualifying round. So there'd basically be 2 play-in games or something like that. We could have no Team Canada. We could have no Team USA going into the World Cup, and that eliminates about 95% of the professional player circuit with the NHL guys that are going to be playing in the World Cup. The one downside I'm seeing here, too, it doesn't look like they're going to be playing and bringing back Team Europe and Team North America, with Team North America being made up of, like, really young, solid guys. Like, back in 2016, I think it was, like, Nathan McKinnon and, like, Austin Matthews on that team. You had Team Europe as well, which had a bunch of different amalgamation of guys from, like, that didn't have national teams to play on, but was just made up of all the other Euros that were really good players that didn't have teams to play on, too. that would be very unfortunate because I really like that. I like Team North America. I like seeing Austin Matthews pass the puck up on the wing to Connor McDavid and playing with Nathan McKinnon on a line as well, because that was as close to an actual quality All-Star game as we'll ever see. But I can see this. This is only going to drive players to participate, like Leon Draisaitl from Germany, Roman Josi from Switzerland, Juraj Slavakovsky from Russia as well, and from the overall first pick from Montreal this year. Those guys could potentially be playing in the World Cup coming up here in 2024. I just see it as an opportunity for Team USA to, because 2016 World Cup was a big hit. I remember watching a few games and I was entertained each and every way that it was made possible too. I just hope that they don't screw it up to the point where they gotta, limit guys that can participate and find ways to kind of ruin it for everybody. But I see this as a stamp of approval because I feel like this could potentially drive more guys to take it more serious, as opposed to like the All-Star game and just kind of show up and just kind of play at half the speed that they normally would.
Yeah. I think this is a good thing. I think it's a good thing, and hopefully it pans out here. So, all right, last one, Voldy.
Yeah, it looks like the first round of eligible players for the Pro Football Hall of Fame were released yesterday of 2023 eligible players in their first year, and there's some notable names. We're getting old, Matt.
Yeah,
we're getting
we
old.
are.
A lot of the guys that we grew up watching, they're up for Hall of Fame induction. Taking a look at the list,
Yes.
Six-time All-Pro offensive lineman Joe Thomas, shutdown cornerback Darrell Revis, pass rusher Dwight Freeney, among other notable guys.
Already?
Chris Johnson, Jari Evans, Navarro Bowman, James Harrison, Cam Chancellor, even Shane Leckler are all eligible for the Pro Football Hall of Fame in their first year on the ballot. There's many other guys that are on this list too, but these are the big names that do jump out right away. 15 finalists will be trimmed down. They'll go from the initial list, I should say, down to 25 finalists, semifinalists in November, then down to 15 finalists in January before the selection committee will discuss and choose the class of 2023 that will be enshrined in August. Those 15 finalists will then go down to 10, down to 5 during the meeting early next year as well. So there'll be a good handful of people with an 80% of the vote needed to get into the Hall of Fame. Currently, of the nominees that are on the list, 65 offensive players, 67 I should say, 50 defensive players, and 12 specialists on this ballot right now. I mean, there's some other guys that are on there going into their second year as well, and a few others. Of course, just missing out was Jared Allen. There's Willie Anderson, Rondé Barber, Devin Hester, Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, Reggie Wayne, Zach Thomas, Patrick Willis, DeMarcus Ware. I'm feeling this, and I feel just the gray hair is getting longer and longer on my head. Just watching and talking about all these guys that are possibly going into the Hall of Fame. But of the first year guys that we talked about early on, who do you think is most likely to get into the Hall of Fame on their first ballot?
Joe Thomas, for sure. Dwight Freeney, I'd say. Revis, for sure. I mean, Revis Island, the whole, bit. I mean, the guy was shut down. He shut down a lot of top receivers, and I think he deserves it. He's a Super Bowl champion, by the way, too.
Yes, sir.
With the Patriots. Chris Johnson, I don't think he's first ballot right away. Jari Evans, I think, has a really good shot. Navarro Bowman, for sure. I really like the way he played, especially with him and Patrick Willis. That was a tandem.
Those guys played on some really bad but really good San Fran teams.
Yeah. James Harrison, I think he's going to
come on
first ballot.
Debo.
Oh, it's too good. And then Cam Chancellor, I personally think he should, because he was just a pop guys all the time, and I mean he was a ball hawk too.
There's no way that I feel like the NFL should bring Cam Chancellor in along with Richard Sherman, along with
Legion of Boom.
The Legion of Boom should all go in at once. That's how I feel. Like they shouldn't even go in as individuals. The Legion of Boom should be its own induction.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if they won, well, again, you all know too well, if they won that second Super Bowl against the Patriots, I think that definitely would be a possibility.
For sure.
But then again, they didn't, and I think, I think they probably do that for Seattle, though, at some point. So. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would, it's got my stamp of approval. I think there's a lot of guys that are worthy. Chris Johnson, I don't think first ballot. I mean, yeah, he got the 2000 and everything like that, but I don't know. I just don't.
Getting away from the cop speed.
Yep. He was very good, though. Don't get me wrong. He was
very good, yeah.
So, Voldy, what do you think?
Of the, those top three guys we talked about, Joe Thomas, Darrelle Revis, Dwight Freeney, I think those guys are definitely all very capable of getting in their first year. Of those guys that I think could get in, I would say Joe Thomas. I want to say Darrelle Revis because, Darrelle Revis was, the first shutdown. He was the shutdown corner of this century, let alone, of the last, 30, 40 years or something, at least since Deion Sanders was in his prime. He was the shutdown corner in his time. Revis Island, I mean, he had that fantastic, 2009 season, I think it was, with the Jets. But, I mean, Joe Thomas, 11-year career, was selected the, all-pro first team 6 times, had a streak of over 10,000 consecutive plays while playing for the Browns. He played for a lot of bad Browns teams and still went out there every day and still got the job done one way or another. But I would definitely say, Joe Thomas for sure. I would say, definitely Darrelle Revis. Dwight Freeney, he's definitely going to get in. I don't know, first or second year in his time. But I really hope that Jared Allen gets into the Hall of Fame this year. I really hope.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think, yeah, I don't know. You never know with the committee here. They're always, sometimes they're like, a lot of these guys are in, some of these guys are like, they need to wait a little bit. It's like, a lot of these guys were really good. Dwight Freeney was a terror. I mean, the guy was just a defensive. He was so fast off that ball. It's crazy. I mean, especially when he was with the Cardinals that one year, and obviously he got the last sack against the Vikings, and that one season with Teddy B against who other than Matt Khalil. But I'll give Dwight Freeney, I think definitely should. But another conversation for another time. So we'll go with that. We'll see what they come up with. So Jared Allen, let's make it happen. All right, that'll do it for Absurd or Approved. Great job as always, Voldy. And it's time for Shield Shoutouts. We got a lot of shoutouts tonight, so I say let's get to it because it's time for some shoutouts.
Shield Shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who ya shouting out tonight?
Well, we got a pretty decent list here this week because, lots happened, especially in the last 24 hours for Shield shoutouts here this week. But last week, members of the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame did get inducted, which did include former NHL goaltender, Michigan State standout, Team USA silver medalist Ryan Miller inducted into the Hall of Fame, and U.S. hockey, U.S. women hockey legends, and back when they had a program, University of North Dakota hockey legends as well. Team USA point getters and also gold medalists Jocelyn and Monique Lamoureux out of Grand Forks, North Dakota, being inducted in the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame as well. Congratulations to that crew, men among many others that were also inducted just some time ago. Well, boy, yesterday, just whale of a day for retirements across not only professional football, but also professional hockey as well. Longtime defenseman, former captain for the Boston Bruins, Zdeno Chara has signed a one-day contract with the Boston Bruins to retire as a member of the Bruins after a long stalwart career, of course, with the Bruins. He played with the Islanders. He played with the Senators, also the likes the Washington Capitals. But 2011 won a Stanley Cup with the Boston Bruins, made a finals appearance in 2013, and also in 2018 as well for the Boston Bruins, made the playoffs in seven of those 11 seasons that he played while being captain for the Boston Bruins. And a happy retirement to Big Z that is, and Zdeno Chara as he retires as a member of the Boston Bruins. It was also announced a retirement by NHL defenseman and media darling and social media star P.K. Subban, as he will be, hanging him up. Most notably in his career, played for the Montreal Canadiens. He played for the Nashville Predators as well as the New Jersey Devils. Playing in the 2012-13 season, he was the top defenseman, winning the Norris Trophy and many other notable roles. Of course, off the ice concerns, one of the many bows that has been had by Lindsey Vonn and her illustrious off the luge circuit as well. But hey, you know what? Good for both of them. But P.K. Subban retiring for the NHL. Probably won't be very far gone in the world of hockey. He'll find himself a media job somewhere. Also a retirement announced. This was a couple of weeks ago, but definitely bears worth mentioning. Starting pitcher David Price. Now, David Price, of course, was a big-time factor and a member of the 2018 World Series champion Boston Red Sox in his short time for the Red Sox as well. But one of those players, you hated when he pitched against your team, but you loved it when he played for your team as well. Played for the Bruins. Played for the Red Sox. He played for Detroit. He was with the Tigers. He was with Toronto for a hot second. Tampa started his career in Tampa as well. Then with the Dodgers for a minute. I think he was one of those trade deadline guys, but played for a lot of teams, did have a lot of impact in the postseason, but of course winning a World Series in 2018 with the unlikely Red Sox as well. That was awesome to see. So David Price will be hanging him up here after this season. And then it was announced actually earlier today that Joe Hayden, from starting his career with Cleveland, ends up being a dynamic player for the Steelers, of course coming out of the University of Florida, is signing his one-day contract to retire as a member of the Browns. And he will be actually honored on Thursday when the Browns take on the Steelers as well, as Joe Hayden is retiring from the NFL. So happy retirement to Joe Hayden. And, of course, we do have to mention a couple of non-retirements, but a big Shield shout-out to Gopher women's basketball legend Rachel Banham, Maroon Mamba, being named the women's basketball director of quality control while she's handling the off-season from the Minnesota Lynx. She's still going to play. That was confirmed. But, playing going to be ending up and helping out another Gopher legend, that being Lindsay Whalen, who got inducted into the National Basketball Hall of Fame. So shout out to Coach Whalen on that, too. And talking about another basketball legend, this time just over the border, South Dakota basketball legend Becky Hammon, who led the WNBA's Las Vegas Aces to their first title, marking the first time in WNBA history that a former player has led a team to a championship as a coach, leading the Las Vegas Aces to their first ever title over the weekend as well. Becky Hammon getting rejected over numerous NBA positions as well, serving as an assistant coach in San Antonio, now taking her talents to Vegas. And, well, in her first year, job well done. Shout out to Becky Hammon and the Aces for a title. They certainly had a whale of their time in Vegas with the championship celebration. That's going to do it for Shield shoutouts this week.
All right. A lot of great shout-outs. Retirements, Becky Hammon especially. Oof, just a lot going on. It's great. We love it with Shield shout-outs. Great job as always, Moldy. With that,
thank you, sir.
And, big weekend for the Purple, for even the Twins. The Wild will be starting up soon and all that. So, and also, great job with Pinkham so far, zoners. We give you claps. There's been a lot of stuff going on. Moldy, I know it's been tough sledding so far for you, but hey, you could shoot up the ranks. I think you did it last year. You had a rough patch and you shot right back up. So,
I gotta have a couple of good weeks in a row in order to bounce back. Yeah.
Easy A is leading the way, I believe. So he's
of course he is.
He's up by one, and I'm right behind him. Just at 19, so and there's a lot going on. So applause out to the zoners.
To all the zoners, make your picks.
Yes.
Make your picks. Don't forget.
Don't forget, because you never know when we're going to drop week of prizes. Because speaking of that, we have merch. We have merch. We have some awesome merch, and obviously we got stickers, $2 for the small ones, $3 for the big ones. Really cool stuff, and you might be getting that through Pick'em, or you might just say, you know what, screw it, I'll just pay for it, and we're gonna do it, and we're just gonna do
pay
it awesome.
for it. You know what? Bypass all of it. Just pay for it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna take an arm and a leg from you. We may take a finger or two, but we're not taking an arm and a leg.
We're really not. We're really not. But we also have hats. They're fantastic. $20, $5 shipping for the hats. I know some have had interest in it, and we'll make sure we get that to you. And then the shirts, $20, $5 shipping, all that fun stuff as well. The limited edition T-shirts are still available, so if you want
XLs, baby, we got them left.
XLs, extra larges, so make sure you get those as well. So we got that. We got that going for us. If you guys want the merch, we got it. All right. Also, shout out to W2 Performance Will Rattel, www.w2performance.com. Make sure you check out all his cool stuff. And then thanks to Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson, and National Fleet Graphic for the stickers. And Jack's Junkyard, make sure you check out his stuff. Breaking into the League with Sam Gabrielli, Ryan Martin, available on Spotify, Apple Podcast as well. And the Victorious P.O.D. with Ryan Walters and Jack Vickers. So make sure you check those guys out. They're doing a lot of fantasy football stuff, and we'll be checking in with them soon. So it'll be fun. But anyway, that's going to do it for episode 122. Hopefully, as we keep going here, we're getting up to 150. Now the next milestone is 150. So we're going to have more fun, more cool things coming at you. So anywho, without further ado, remember, as always, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla!
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.